Children, in 1939, the Second World War broke out, and this time again there were two major powers, the Axis power comprising of Germany, Italy, and Japan, and then we have the allies or the allied powers, which were USA, UK, France, and Russia, the former Russia when it was a united Russia, USSR. Okay, as I had told you earlier, that the World War II or the Second World War started in 1939, and our Indian Congress leaders were very critical about Hitler. They did not like Hitler because he was considered as a dictator, a tyrant leader. So they thought that if he won the war, then India may not get its freedom. So they decided to support the British in their war, and they told the British that after they will support them, but after the war, India should be granted independence. Now, the Britishers refused to these demands because they wanted to continue to rule for a longer time. And when the demands were not met, the Congress ministers in the provinces resigned in protest. So continuing further, children, just let us recall some of the events that Gandhiji had started. Gandhiji had started the non-cooperation movement. Yes, why was this started? Because of the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, and then combining it with the Khilafat movement. He also went, after that, he started another movement which was called the Civil Disobedience Movement, the Salt March, where they wanted to break the salt tax break the tax that was put on salt. And now, after when the Second World War began, the ministers, Congress ministers, had asked the British government that they would support them in the war, but after the war they wanted independence. When the British government refused the demands, Gandhiji decided to initiate another phase of movement against the British in the middle of the Second World War. So he started the Quit India movement, and his call to all the people was do or die. Okay, now, and many started joining him, but he always told the people to fight in a non-violent manner. Children, when Gandhiji gave the call for do or die, that is the Quit India movement, it attracted a number of people, and especially the peasants and the young boys who gave up their studies to join this movement. Now, seeing this, that everyone was joining the movement, the Britishers first arrested all the Congress leaders. Gandhiji and Maulana Abdul Kalam, all were arrested and put into the jail. Now, these youth, and as Gandhiji had already told them that they have to protest in a non-violent manner, so meetings, dharnas, protests were organized all over, and they attacked all kinds of the government authorities all over the country. In some areas, they declared themselves their independence and formed their own government. Now, seeing that the masses are joining, now the Britishers did not know what to do, so they adopted to very repressive measures. Now, what are very repressive measures? That means they arrested, they killed, tear gas, machine guns, or lathi charge, all was done on the people. Yes. So you see here, children, by the end of 1943, about 90,000 people were arrested, thousands were killed in police firing. In many areas, orders were given to machine gun crowds from aeroplanes, as I told you earlier. And now the Britishers the jails were full, they did not know what to do. So the rebellions, however, ultimately, with their demands and with their dharnas and rallies and protests, they brought the British Raj to its knees. That means now the Britishers thought that they will not be able to rule further. They have to now give India its independence. Okay, and the British already was fighting a war, the Second World War, so it was already under pressure, and they did not know, and they did not have time to look into the governance of India, and that is when they had to take a stance, and now they believed that it is time that they have to leave the country.